Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the Edifier Stax Spirit S5, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Edifier for sending over the Stax Spirit S5 for a review. Greatly appreciate it. Edifier, you rock. Alright, so the Edifier Stax Spirit S5, this will set you back $500 from your bank account. It is a over-ear planar Bluetooth wireless headphone, and it has a different approach to wireless Bluetooth sound. It utilizes a 89mm by 70mm second gen equal mass planar magnetic driver. Bluetooth 5.4 supports codecs of SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX lossless, aptX adaptive, LDAC, and LHDC. It also has a Snapdragon sound, frequency response range of 10 Hz to 40 kHz, and it uses dual mics noise suppression system. It has USB-C charging, and it weighs 347 grams, and it comes in this big huge box. You got a picture here on the front, some branding, and a bunch of stickers, and we have high-res stickers. It's gotta sound good. All right, on the back side here we have some more information regarding the technology inside. Take that outer sleeve and you're have this really cool box that has Stax Spirit just all over it. This is really cool looking. Taking that off, you have some paperwork, and then you get a nice little setup here. You get a box with some accessories. The accessories that you get a pick so that you can remove the ear pads and replace them. You're greeted by, you also get a little 3.5 cable, which is about 3 foot long. Fabric, nothing too special. And then you get a 1/4 inch adapter, and you get about a 3 foot long USB to USB-C cable for charging. This cable is never lost its swervy curviness. It's a little bit on the thick side, but hey, it does its job. And then you get 2 little bags with the replacement pads, and these pads are the cooling mesh memory foam pad, and we will show how to change those out. They have these little clips here on the back, and they just kind of pull right off the S5. All right, so you have a carrying case, some branding, hard shell, nice and small, fits right in the hand. You got a carrying loop, nice zipper, and then when you open it up, your S5's just snug right on in. So you have the S5, very small. The S5s are well built, but pretty typical wireless Bluetooth headphone. You have plastic pretty much throughout. It feels very durable plastic, and it's a nice looking plastic, but it is plastic. And then you have a metal headband with some branding up top. They slide open. You have a little bit of padding up top here. They expand out pretty good. Got some rotation. You can lay them completely flat, and then also they fold. Overall, not a bad build. We've got some more high-res stickers. Gotta really sound good. The controls are on the right hand side. So you have a volume rocker, plus and minus, and then a play pause button in the middle. Holding it down will turn them on. Also, you can skip tracks. And then you have a pairing button. Also, clicking it will change and cycle through your different EQs. And it is also can be used as a button you can dedicate a certain option for if you want. And using the Edifier app, you can do that. You have your USB-C input for charging and for playback, and then some microphones. On the left hand side here, you have your 3.5 input. The Stax Spirit S5s do not have noise canceling. They are all passive noise canceling. They also are not waterproof, so do be careful how you use them and in what conditions. You don't want to damage them. A nice little touch that Edifier Stax has done here is this faceplate is leather. So it just looks really, really cool and feels nice. It also eliminates when you touch the headphone, you do not get near as much noise and echo in your cups. Opening them up, popping them on your head, you can adjust them to fit. And the clamp force is very, very good. I did not have a problem with them being too tight or too loose. I find that they stay on my head if I do any sort of bobbing around. And they're easily to adjust. They just kind of fit on your ears and disappear. Now the ear cups are a little bit on the small side, so if you have larger ears, it could be an issue. For me, I didn't have a problem with them fitting in, but I do have to adjust them a little bit just to make sure that everything is, in place and not getting squished. To remove your pads, you just grab this little pick that they provide, put it in between, and just lift up in several different spots, and the pads just pop right off. And you can see the planar driver, as mentioned, 89 millimeters by 70 millimeter planar driver. And then you can just take your pad of choice, whether it be the cooling mesh or the lambskins, line them up and press, and they go on rather easily. I always say that on camera and then it becomes a challenge. There we go. All right. So build wise, they're pretty average, I would say. They do have a couple of cool things with the leather cups, and the all plastic feels more like Sennheiser type of plastic, very durable. I have no worries about them lasting. I don't fear that they're gonna break or snap at any time, but it's not an all metal build. Trying to cut down on weight. They do weigh 347 grams. Comfort wise, I can wear these for hours upon hours. No issues whatsoever. I do find that the passive noise isolation isn't the greatest. With them on, I can carry on conversations very easily with people. I can hear things around it. It doesn't really block out much. Turning on music, obviously you can crank your music up fairly loud and block things out. But you're still going to hear louder things, vehicles and things like that. I would say probably about 50% of outside noise is being blocked with the passive noise isolation. Not the greatest on these, but if they do other things really well, I can overlook not having noise canceling. The Bluetooth stayed very well connected. I had no problems. It uses Bluetooth 5.4. You can connect it with all the different codecs, SBC, AAC, aptX, aptX HD, aptX adaptive, aptX lossless, LDAC, L8, DC, all that kind of stuff. So it has no problems connecting and remembering your device. and it connects extremely fast. The charging of the S5 is quite impressive. It will do a full charge in about an hour and a half. Giving a quick 15-minute zap will give you about 8 to 10 hours worth of listening time. If you ever burn your battery out and you still have, and you want to use it for a few hours, just plug it in for a few moments and you'll get plenty of life. It has an impressive battery, and it takes a long time to drain. 80 hours of playtime is what they claim. And I did a test of that, and I got about 77 hours worth of playing time before it had to be charged. So that's rather impressive. That's, of course, straight through playing. So if you just use it like I do for a couple hours here, a couple hours there, for several weeks, you're going to have plenty of battery life. You're not going to have to charge these up on a daily basis. You probably won't even have to charge them up on a weekly basis. So you should be good to go for a full work week. As far as another option that it has is you can use the USB-C input, plug that into your laptop or your computer USB, and turn on the headphone, and it will charge the headphone while you're listening to music, which is a nice feature. So if you are a little bit low on battery and you want to charge them up, but you still want to listen to music and you have a laptop available, you can plug it in. You can also do that off of your phone, but it will drain your phone battery. So do keep that in mind. You can also use it with 3.5 input. You do have to have it on in order to use the 3.5 input though. The ear pads do make a difference. So the most noticeable difference will be how much noise isolation that you will get. The mesh pads do not offer as much as the leather pad. The leather pad's probably about 50%. The mesh pad is probably 45%. So that is one thing. The next thing that you're going to notice is when you're playing back music, the mesh pads will sound a little bit more open, a little bit more spacious, but they also will lack a little bit of bass. They do not have quite as much of bass impact and slam and punch as they do with the leather pad, but they are a little bit more open and a little bit more sparkly and energetic. So it just kind of depends. I liked both sounds. I didn't have any issues, and the differences are subtle. It's not a big, huge drop off when it comes to the bass. The S5 also has you can connect it to the Edifier ConneX app. And with the ConneX app, you can change different EQs, and you can also do a few other things like enable gaming modes and things like that. And I find that the app is very useful, allowing you to be able to play, pause your music, and change your volumes and all kinds of things. It's a very useful app. But the nice thing about it is you can do custom EQ, and also you can use some of their preset EQs. Now, their preset EQs are the what they call original, dynamic, and monitor. And original mode is kind of your average playback sound. Now, it's not average sounding when it comes out of the S5, but it's not really adding anything to the music. It does have a slight warmth to it and a little bit of a crispness up top, but overall it's a very pleasurable listen. Kind of similar to monitoring mode, except monitoring mode is a little bit more neutral and also has a little bit more of an emphasis on being analytical. So you're going to get a little bit more forthrightness and detail and resolution. Dynamic mode is probably what most people will enjoy. Dynamic mode adds in the fun factor. So you get a little bit of body, a little bit more fullness to the sound, and you get a little bit more of a toe tapping, arm flailing type of listen. I enjoyed dynamic sound, but I also preferred monitor sound. And monitor sound was what I preferred just because it was more neutral and analytical leaning, but dynamic sound was fun, especially if I was listening to music that I just wanted to kind of jam out to. And then original was kind of in between the two of them, and I didn't mind that either. But the app works very well, very flawlessly. You just download it onto your phone and connect it, and it finds your device, and you're off and changing things. So the Edifier Stax Spirit S5 with its 89mm by 70mm planar driver and its frequency response range of 10 hertz to 40 kilohertz. How does it sound? So I found that the Edifier Stax Spirit S5s are incredible. The bass is just fun and engaging and nicely detailed and has very good resolution. Keep in mind, I did do the majority of my listening on monitor mode. So the bass extends nicely into the sub bass. You get a little bit of rumble and grumble there. If you want more of it, add in the EQ or change it to dynamic mode and you get a little bit more. But with the monitor mode, it calls upon it when in the track. It's a little bit of an emphasis there. It's not near as much as with dynamic mode. And then the mid bass has a little bit punch and slam, and upper bass has a little bit as well. Overall, it's a very good bass that has nice impact and slam to keep me happy and probably keep most happy. But if you really want to have a little bit more bass, go with that dynamic mode. But it is nicely detailed and very good resolving, well controlled. And then it also has nice tonality. I was rather impressed at the bass, how clean it was, but yet how articulate it was, and also how pleasurable it was, but yet giving me all of the information there and resolving it nicely with good, accurate, natural tone and timbre. Going into the mids have a nice lushness to them and a organic naturalism about them without being too overly thick and too full sounding. They have nice body weight. They stay even keeled. They are very balanced when it comes to the bass and the treble. They are not trying to be too forthright, too forward. They are evenly spaced. They have nice air and nice crispness about them, but also at the same time, very nice body weight and a nice slightly warm tone. I was rather impressed at the abilities for it to reproduce instruments and vocalists and sound very natural, very reproducing very accurately to the real life instruments, and it just has a pleasurability about it without being too lush, too full, and without being so aggressive and too forward and pushed. It has a very natural evenness about it. Going into the treble extends nicely. There's very good air and space throughout, and there's a nice crispiness with a little bit of an edge and bite without being too expressive, without being too fatiguing. It stays very well controlled. The treble has nice tonality, just like the mids and the bass, and the treble stays very well controlled. It doesn't try to be too shimmery, too glassy, too energetic. It has a nice demeanor about it, and it stays very well controlled. If you want a little bit less of a treble, and you don't want it to be quite as expressive as it is on the monitoring mode, you could go to dynamic mode, which it kind of softens and rounds just a little bit and adds even more of a pleasurableness. But overall, I found that it was just enough of a sparkle and energy and a little bit of a bite and crispness to it without being too much. The soundstage of the S5 is also really impressive, especially for a closed back headphone. I was rather surprised at how much width I actually got. I could really space things out, and I could hear things coming in and from each side and exiting out, and they didn't just kind of appear. They came in and came out properly. The width of it allows you to be able to sense things around you without sounding compact and too comfy. It had a nice accurate representation of sizes of venues, small, medium, and large. Didn't really get into the grand size of things very often, but every now and then it would surprise. And it did a really good job of representing those differences in venue sizes. Imaging was excellent. It allowed things to move across the stage. As I said earlier, they enter in and exit out, and you can follow them across the stage very well from side to side. Depth is very good. It is slightly deeper with the dynamic mode. You can read into the stage a little bit better. And then the imaging and placement of things is a little bit better on monitoring mode. I found that layering was excellent on all the different modes, and it does a really good job of giving each instrument and vocalist its own place. It allows them to have their own place on the stage without fighting for position and without crowding out or pushing in on each other at all. It does a really good job of keeping everything separated and isolated out. And then detail retrieval and resolution of the S5 is really, really fantastic. I'm rather impressed by a Bluetooth wireless headphone having the amount of details that the S5 has. You're not going to miss anything. And I had moments of, wow, I don't normally hear this on a wireless headphone. This is competing with wired gear. And I was rather impressed at the amount of details that the S5 brought in, and then how well it resolved it. There's not any glassiness, glariness, harshness, distortions, anything of the sort. Everything is very well refined, defined, and focused. And then tone and timbre is exceptional. It all sounds very natural and accurate, reproduces instruments and vocalists very organically and very naturally, and I'm rather impressed by how well the S5 does instruments. It is craziness that a Bluetooth wireless headphone can do that. Technology has come a long ways. And I'm rather impressed with the Edifier Stax S5. Sure, it's missing a few little things. Noise canceling being one of them. No touch controls. Very limited controls. Things like that. But it does all kinds of other things really, really good, especially when it comes to the sound. How does it compare to another headphone? And that is the HEAVYS H1H. Now, the HEAVYS H1H are heavier. They're bigger. They're about as comfortable. Maybe the weight causes them to become a little bit uncomfortable quicker than the S5. Clamp force is definitely a little bit more on the H1H. But the big differences are H1H has noise canceling, has the Hellbreaker mode, and it also has some other things that the S5 can't do, but sound-wise, the HEAVYS H1H are warmer. They're definitely bassier, and they're not as sparkly and energetic and expanded out into the treble. Also, the soundstage is different on the H1H. It's a little bit more comfy, cozy type of a stage. And the H1H specializes in rock and metal music. It does okay on the other genres of music, but if you're a listener for rock and metal, that type of stuff, the H1H may be for you, especially if you like the big bass. Whereas the S5 does better with all genres of music. It can do metal, it can do rock, but you can also do classical and jazz, acoustical music, and all the other genres of music. I find that the S5 plays very well and does it extremely well, and it is significantly better than the H1H when it comes to detail retrieval and resolution, tone, and timbre. It's a massive improvement. So I was rather surprised because I like the H1H for some genres of music, but the S5 just blows its pants off when it comes to everything other than just that fun, bassy, just go get 'em type of head bobbing music. So the Edifier Stax Spirit S5. Sure, it has a few little things that people may find to be a disappointment. Noise canceling, and you have to turn it on in order to use it wired. But it does so much better when it comes to sound. And the crazy thing is, when you plug it in with sound and you turn it on, you plug it into your computer with a USB-C cable or 3.5, it improves. It actually gets a little bit better. I was surprised at how the layering gets a little bit better. The soundstage gets a little bit wider, a little bit deeper, and the details and resolution get a little bit more focused and a little bit more refined. And so it's a little bit more than what you get with it being Bluetooth. But yet, I found myself constantly and consistently listening to it Bluetooth. And that really surprised me. Normally, I'm not a Bluetooth listener. Normally, I don't listen wirelessly. And if I'm sitting at this desk, I'm using a wire. And the S5s were the first headphone that I just sat back and listened wirelessly and enjoyed it. The Edifier Stax Spirit S5. This is the best Bluetooth wireless headphone I've ever heard. And it's not even competition. These things are phenomenal. They are expensive, $500. But if you're looking for a headphone that competes with your wired gear and almost gets as good and does beat some of it, yeah. Edifier Stax Spirit S5s. These things are amazing, and I'll definitely be using these for a long time to come, even if I'm not taking a trip. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of the next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links and notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off. Don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information on there regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel. All that kind of stuff is listed down below. Speaking of supporting the channel, though, I do want to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships, and also for all the one-time gifts that are given. It is much appreciated. Thank you for all that you give to the channel. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there are various ways that you can do that: one-time gifts, PayPal, Venmo, and YouTube, or through monthly subscriptions with with Patreon and YouTube memberships, where you can also get access to my private Discord and also other benefits. So check out those links down below. Also, there's all kinds of other information, music recommendations, gear recommendations, and all kinds of other things. So check out the links down below. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.